And we are live.
Hi, everybody. Hey,
hello, YouTubers. Welcome to another episode of Inhumanoids Live. I'm your host, Barton Nunley. Your co-host, as always, is my beautiful wife, Letitia.
For a little
Say
while.
Hello, darling.
Hi.
She's not feeling too well, so she's going to be with us for as long as she can. And also adorning your screen are two of the Blondes and Booze, Krista Michael Tweedy and Brandy Hollywood Butcher. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you guys for being here once again. Make sure everything runs smoothly for us. We really appreciate you.
Of course.
Always good to see you.
Of course. Thank you, Hawk.
We have another great episode tonight for everybody. One of my good friends, Joe Barger, has agreed to come on and talk to everyone again. Everyone wants to know what's been going on with him and get an update and maybe ask him a question or two. So we have that going on. But before we get started, I just want to say a really heartfelt thank you to every one of you guys who sent up prayers for me and taking time out of your life to check on me and message me and just be there for me while I was sick. I really appreciate you guys, and we love you. Love each and every one of you. We're not your typical YouTubers. Mm-hmm. This isn't your typical YouTube channel. I don't consider anyone in this chat a follower or a fan, only friends and family. So we just want you to know how much I appreciate each and every one of you for your help and your support and your prayers. They really mean a lot. And Letitia has some things that she wants to say before we get started.
Hi, guys. Sorry I'm not feeling so well tonight. He shared his code with me, so thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
That's love for you.
Yeah. But, you sound awful.
I'm sitting here sweating and I feel horrible. So I may sneak out tonight. If I do, I loved everybody, but I tried. I want to start off with our prayer list tonight. I need prayers for my brother, Kevin. Everybody's been praying for him. He did get to go home. He's on oxygen at home. He's going to be on a BiPAP machine probably the rest of his life. But thank you for all the prayers. I know that they help. Thank you for the prayers for my husband. Thank you so much. Yes. I just appreciate each and every one of you. We have prayers that we need sent out for a lot of people tonight. Jimmy, Michelle Blanton and their family. Kirk Reed lost his mother. Jenny Brown lost her dad last night. Beth Wojcicki's husband, Fred, his heart's not doing well right now. He's needing some prayers. Josh and Nellie Turner and the whole PRT family is needing prayers. Scott's Life's, his daughter, still needs prayers. Catherine Gay's sister. Mr. T, he was one of our people on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you guys remember him?
Mr. T's needing some prayers. He's been going through some pretty tough times. Sam Burton, Shane Honia, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Sherry Griffey, Betty, better known as Bettina, but we're allowed to call her Betty.
Well, I think I'm the only one that's allowed to do that.
I am too.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Krista and her family, Brandy and her family, and Abby. Well wishes to Abby. Angelique Benham. Angelique. The Henderson family, Felicia Humphrey, Jesse and Joe Doyle, Spunky Sparky. Sorry to hear you're sick, girl. Get better. Mark Staten, Greg Ogles, William Denton, Martin Groves, Trey Hood, William Bays, Anna Kaywood Jones, Penny Van, Veer and Vic Gulati, that is better known as Jitesh and his dad, Matt Impsch. We need prayers for all you got, all of them. A lot
of our friends and family need prayers right now.
A lot of sickness going around.
A lot of sickness and a lot of prayers are needed. So please be generous with your prayers.
I'm almost done. I got a happy anniversary to Chris and Laura Clough. It was a couple weeks ago or a week and a half ago. We was going to do it last week, but we had to miss the show. So we're so sorry that it's a little late. But happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary.
Happy birthday to my son, Dustin Jones, day after tomorrow. Happy birthday to Ace Burton. If anybody don't know who Ace Burton is, that is Sam Burton's faithful friend, his fur baby. So happy birthday, Ace.
Happy birthday, Ace.
Yeah.
I just want to congratulate Shane and Michael, Shane, Michael, Chris, and Lisa, and Perry on the birth of their daughter. Charlie Budden, birth of his grandson, and James and Rachel Watson on the birth of their son. And Hawk, if you are out there, I haven't seen you yet, but if you're
he's donated. He actually donated to you and memberships. He's great.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Hawk,
buddy.
we need you to please send me your address. We need to get a package out to you. Send it to the LM Smith 1970 at hotmail.com, and we'll get that in the mail to you as soon as possible.
Yep.
I think I'm done. Thank you to everybody that I missed that's joined or bought memberships for somebody.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys.
Can we talk about the Alabama Bigfoot Conference?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right. Brandy, I'm going to let you talk about it, and I'll put it on the screen.
Absolutely. This is going to happen actually June 7th and 8th. It's in Anniston, Alabama at the Performing Arts Center there. We have a great lineup. Of course, we have Barton Nunley, Daryl Denton, Blondes and Booze, Jason McLean, Greg Ogles, Martin Groves, and Bigfoot Michigan Rob. It's just going to be an awesome, great time. We've got tickets priced very low so everybody can come. Because I always say that I hate when people overprice tickets. That just kills me. But we wanted to make it so everybody could come and have a good time. On the 7th of June, what we're doing is we're going to have a meet and greet dinner, but we're doing it a little differently. What you can do is when you get your tickets, you can send an email to us and let us know that you want to come. And all you do is you pay for your meal. That's all you do. Just let us know you're coming, how many, you pay for your meal. That's it. So like I said, we want to make it cheap on everybody. So, make sure you sign up for that at bamaconference.com.
Yep.
Thank you, Eclipse Truth. I appreciate that, Jenny.
Can't wait to see everybody again. I know it's a long way away, but all my Wolf brothers and sisters, Daryl Denton and Martin Groves, and of course Hollywood.
And we've nicknamed it Texas Front Porch meets Brotherhood of the Wolf. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Merle. Appreciate you, brother. It's going to be a lot of truth shared, and that's what I'm here to do. That's all I know how to do is get up here and share the truth with everyone. And like I say, where it sticks, it's supposed to stick, and it will stick. And where it's not supposed to, it'll just slide right off, just like it always does. But hello to everybody in the chat. I see all my good friends in the chat room. Hello to all you guys. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate you.
Yep, for sure.
We got a great show tonight, and I met this fella a couple years ago at Josh Turner's first annual Dogman conference in Paris, Tennessee, and I was immediately impressed with his honesty and his humble demeanor. And he was trying to find someone to tell a story to, but everybody was so busy that weekend, and he really had a hard time doing it. And I finally connected with Joe, and we became friends, and I invited him to hang out with us all weekend. We've been friends ever since. So without further delay, let's bring up Joe Barger, the man who killed Dogman.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
Good. How you doing, Joe?
Great. Doing good.
Good. Good to hear your voice again, man.
Can everybody hear Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Can everybody leave me a comment if you can hear Joe? Joe, can you say something?
Yeah. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, I can now.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, brother. How you been doing the last few months?
Oh, just pretty much working all the time.
Right.
Trucking, doing my trucking stuff.
We got to pay the bills, right?
Yeah, sure do.
So, Joe, I just dropped a video with you in it about your experience with the Dogman up there in Michigan a few years back. You want to tell everybody a little bit about you before we get into that, and a little bit about your background for those who aren't familiar with you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a truck driver. I'm 60 years old, and I've been doing this for about 15 years. And before that, I was working in the medical field, and before that, I was in some contracting with building. And before that, I was in the military. So,
Well, thanks for your service, buddy.
yeah, thank you. But yeah, that's about, you know, what I've been about most of my life.
Yeah. Now, you're a Christian, right, Joe?
What's that?
Said you
Oh,
are
yeah.
Christian, right, brother?
Oh,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
that there are consequences in the next life for going around telling lies in this one, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So everything that you tell these people tonight will be the truth.
Yep, but swear on the Bible.
Okay, brother. Let's get into what happened to you when you was driving a truck up there in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, would go back to 2017. I was driving to a lumber mill. It's actually a paper mill that's in up near Manistee, and was in the Manistee National Forest is where this incident happened to me. And on my way back from picking that load up back to my terminal that day, I was probably 20 minutes down the road, and I noticed an air leak in my system, because my gauge was going down and getting low, and it was building back up, but I didn't want it to get worse because that'll lock your trailer brakes up or something will happen. So I pulled over where I knew there was enough room and like a snowplow turnaround on that road there, and had plenty of room to get off the side, be out of any traffic. Got out, saw the problem, fixed it. I had things with me. I didn't want to call anybody. Service calls take forever. I wanted to get back, and I kept things with me so I could do minor repairs. It's temporary, but it'll get me through.
Yeah.
And at that point, when I was underneath the trailer and I saw the little cut in my line, and I repaired it with some clamps and a double-ended nipple and things that would repair it temporarily. I noticed as I was sitting there, I was getting an uneasy feeling. I was hearing noises around me that weren't natural.
Underneath the truck, you saw that just 1 second. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Sure.
on the truck and saw that your line was cut. It wasn't old and dry rotted or anything like that. It was actually cut.
No, it wasn't. It seemed like it was cut. It wasn't a dry rotted. It's a rubber hose
Thank you,
that
Shirley.
that goes all the way back, to the brake chambers back there. And it wasn't rotted. It was cut. Somehow it was cut enough to where I noticed, an air leak. It wasn't bad enough to, my compressor was keeping up, but my gauge kept going almost to red. So, but I did repair it, and I got going again. But as I was sitting there underneath fixing it, there was noises I was hearing that sounded not real natural. I was looking in the woods about 20 yards, 30 yards away, seeing shadowing going through. This is broad daylight. It's in June. It's probably 7:30 at night, but it's still a lot of light. There's still a couple hours of light.
Yeah.
And the woods are real close, maybe 10 yards at the most from me, and maybe 20 yards in, I was noticing some movement, some weird noises. I kind of felt like the atmosphere was charged differently. Didn't feel right. Something just uneasy feeling. I thought I was looking at a shadowing in the woods too at the time. That was movement back in the brush. I'd see dark spots, and I'd see lighter spots. So something was moving back there that was real dark and black, looked kind of big. And I thought, I'm in where bear country is. There's bears there. Black bears are all over in that area. And so I thought it was that at the time. And I didn't really think a whole lot about that, but I wasn't real comfortable with the way I was feeling, seeing that and everything else. I was all done, got back in my truck, fired it up. I saw that my airline was holding, my air was staying stable. And as I started to take off, of course, I'm off the road in this little turnaround area, and I'm actually having to make, the way I pulled into this place, I had to make a U-turn. So I made a U-turn out of there, and and I'm at the bottom of a pretty steep grade, and I'm loaded heavy with a 40-some thousand, about 43,000 pounds. And so I'm not going to get more than 25 miles an hour out of this truck till I get to the top.
Thank you, Scott's Life.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, buddy.
And as I'm going up the hill, I'm looking to my left to make sure I'm not going to impede traffic when I'm going up, and to see if anybody's coming. Nothing's coming, so I'm continuing to go. And for some reason, I had something catch my eye to the right on my passenger side. Something like light was being blocked or something. And as I looked over there on the passenger side, there's no shoulder here. It's all grass and weeds, and that's it. This is just a 2-lane. It's paved, but there is no shoulder whatsoever.
Thank you, Josh.
And I see this.
Glad to see you, Josh.
I see this huge head in my window that looks exactly almost like a wolf. And then as he was looking straight at me with these big yellow eyes, his head was so huge that he was taking up my whole window. He was just on the other side of my mirror, and he had to stoop down to even look in. He had to even bend over. He was hunched over, and he was running, staying up with me. I'm going about 20, 25 at the most miles an hour here, and he's staying right up with me. He was smooth. He was, all his movements were smooth. And as I was looking at him, it was just, I had a million things going on in my mind. I've never heard of a Dogman. I thought I was looking at a werewolf, which, it was basically, when you describe it, it's a werewolf. He was reaching up, my windows were down because it was warm and it was a nice evening. So he started, as I was going, this werewolf was reaching inside my truck and right at the windowsill, and he actually did scrape on my windowsill, and I could hear clicking and scratching on my door where he was trying to, I think, grab the handle.
Yeah.
And the thing is, later on, I did find out when I looked at my door, there were scratches on it, and on my windowsill where there's, on the top there. And he kind of ripped the gasket a little bit, and there was, a few vertical and a couple horizontal.
Real quick,
scrapes
thank
on
you
my
very
door.
much, TF Seek. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry about
Just
So what color
gather
was
my.
What color was this werewolf running alongside your semi truck?
Yeah. So
Mhm. don't think he can.
As that was happening, I was thinking, what should I do? He was looking everywhere in my truck. I assume it was a he. I don't know for fact, but it seemed to me like it was a male. And as I was, all these things were going through my mind, and and the vibe I was getting from this thing was, I'm coming after you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the next thing come to my mind is I always have a gun on me. I have a gun strapped to my side, right here on my seat, and it's in a certain fashion that I can grab quick, and that just was automatic reaction, instinctual. And when I thought that, I'm thinking, yeah, you think so, and watch what's going to happen now. And I pulled it really fast, and as he saw the barrel of it, it was like it was too slow, and I shot 2 shots really fast, like sounded almost like one shot, and he went down, and he hit a clothesline. He just went down instantly. As I was moving, I was looking in my mirror over there, and he was sliding, plowing weeds over, dust kicking up. He was rigid, like, when you get a brain hit on an animal, they get rigid usually, and it goes stiff, and arms are straightened out, head's all cocked to the side, and just kind of flippity flopping around. I saw a tail. I saw his legs now. His legs were like a wolf, when it comes from the knee down, looked like a dog or a wolf. Longer type beak than a normal dog or a wolf, but a little bit longer. And of course, his hands were similar to raccoon hands, and they were just massive. Just massive. Everything was massive, and he looked like he was as big as a horse. That weighs about 1,000 pounds. He was at least had to be 10 foot tall. Had to be.
Wow. Thanks, Brother Shade, for that cloaked $100 bill, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, describe the creature in a little bit more detail, if you don't mind, Joe. What did its eyes look like? What color was its fur?
He was completely black, jet black as can be. I did notice in the sunlight, the tips of his fur were translucent, and when the sun hit it in different ways as he was moving, there was like this shimmering translucence to it. But other than that, it was completely black. Mm-hmm. There was, he had yellow, amber, real bright yellow eyes. He had extremely bright, brilliant white teeth, like no yellowing at all. His tongue and mouth was kind of mottled, like black and pink.
Yeah, like a dog's.
Yeah, and his tongue was hanging out. He was drooling. Because of the wind, his eyes were squinting a little bit, kind of at the same time. Drool was flying a little bit. He had 3-inch canine teeth, top and bottom, at least 3.5 inches, about as thick as my thumb. The rest of his teeth were all jagged. He just was really, really gnarly, nasty looking, and just real imposing. Like he was ready to do something to me, I believe, and
sure,
that's why I shot him. And
he had intentions, all right.
And let's see what else about him here.
we had a question. The
He had
window
a huge,
down.
huge lion's mane. He like a lion's mane around his head and shoulders too.
There are actually quite a few questions. I'm starring them, Barton, for whenever
Okay.
you want to. So just stay tuned, everybody. We will get your
Yeah.
questions answered, and please put them in all caps so I can see them. So
And,
whenever you're ready for them, Bart, I can put
And
them
we
up.
do have Sibylla Irwin, which is Sibylla's my wonderful friend, a celebrity death, and she sketches people's the cryptids that people that see these things and brings them to life. So we have you had Sibylla sketch your Inhumanoid, right, Joe?
Yes, she did. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull that up and let everybody see what this thing looked like that Joe saw and killed.
You got it, Letitia, or
Okay,
you want me
so I
to?
hit present.
Nope. Oh, you do. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay. We can get there. Do you want the close up or
You want
I've got
black and
two.
white or the color. It
Yeah,
don't matter.
yeah.
One's black and white and one's color.
There
Yeah,
you
let's
go.
get the color one up there, Krista.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, that's great work by Sibylla Irwin. You guys, please go check her
Fantastic
channel
work.
out. She does this for free as a way to help Inhumanoid witnesses get over the trauma of their encounter. So, yeah,
Sketching encounters.
Sketching Encounters with Sibylla Irwin. Please go check it out
Mhm.
as soon as the show's over. Now, Joe, would you say this
Yeah.
is an accurate representation of what you saw that day?
That's really, really close. Yes, really close. It was real. It was really huge too. You got to remember. I think what gets lost on people is this thing was huge, like
Yeah.
10, at least 10 feet tall. You know, and 1,000 pounds. You know, it was just massive.
Yeah, and you just got
Real muscular.
orbital
Wow.
cavity there and bring it down, right?
It was, yeah. I when I shot, I believe I had to shoot it in the eye socket and through the eyeball into the skull is what I really believe. And you know, I'm actually I've been a gun person my whole life, and I instinctually pull guns and shoot them without aiming all the time to train. I do it all. I've done it all my life, and so I'm not surprised I hit it where I hit it because it's kind of where I wanted to hit it. But I just don't think that if I would have hit it anywhere else, it would have taken it down.
Right.
Because of the size of this thing. The gun I used was actually it was a 45 Colt, which is not a 45 ACP. It's a 45 Colt, which is different. It's actually a revolver, and the bullets I was using were only made for this particular gun that I had, which is a Smith & Wesson Governor. And these
Governor,
bullets,
okay. Yeah, I was thinking it was the judge, but it's the governor.
Thank you, Sir Cluffy.
Yes, thank you, Sir Cluffy. And thank you to
And-
everybody who donates. We're gonna go over the list of people who donate at the end of the show. We don't want to interrupt our guests unnecessarily, but we really appreciate your donations. They're not expected, but they're really appreciated. And you guys are really starting to make a difference with the content of this channel. So thank you so much. Okay, Joe, what happened after you watched this beast roll down onto the side of the road?
okay. Well, thought I was losing my mind. I didn't know what just happened. I never have hallucinated. Nothing like this has ever happened to me, or I didn't even know about the existence of these things. I wanted to make sure at the time I'm really, like, in a shocky state, kind of, I guess you could say. I've never been this afraid or scared in my life, and I've been through some scary things. So I was thinking, I know when I get to the top of this hill, down the road a little ways, there's a picnic pull-off area that's just big enough for me to get turned around on. So I went in the wrong way to get in there. I hit a few branches on trees and stuff. It's okay, small ones. I knew I could get turned around in there. I got turned around because I thought if that thing's still alive, I want to make sure it's dead, and I'll run the thing over with, 80,000 pounds of truck. So I get down there, and it's gone. And there's a Jeep there with two people out there milling around, so I didn't know what to do at first, but I kind of thought I better stop because I'm afraid that thing crawled into the woods and it's going to attack them or something. I can't figure out why they're there.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know any. I found out later who and what that was all about, but at the time I didn't know. And they were, a male and female in a Jeep, a black Jeep. And I pulled over. I said, "Hey, you guys okay? You need some help? Do you want me to call?" And I'm still all in this weirded out state. And they looked at me and kind of thought, I kind of hesitated to respond to me. And they said, "Well, we're just here. We saw something that's interesting. It looked like a few bears were over here and made it, that's what we're looking at." They were fighting or something. Gave me some excuse to why they were there, which I knew they wasn't. And I didn't want to say that I just shot a werewolf right there. So I pretty much, said goodbye and, if you don't need anything, I'm out of here because I'm gone. And that's kind of pretty much the extent of it until some other things happened over time. But that I found out a lot of different things and that happened. But that's pretty much the extent of that whole encounter.
Yeah.
Wow.
So did this bother you a lot at night? Could you sleep after
Well,
you saw this thing and encountered
Well,
this?
after I would say the first 6 months, I didn't say anything to anybody about it at all, and I was probably having nightmares pretty regular and not being able to sleep well for I would say almost 6 months probably. And I did have some kind of PTSD problem, I guess, if you want to put a label on it. I just done a lot of praying and stuff, and I started doing research, and I got better as I started doing research pretty much right away. So I knew I was dealing with something that was a Dogman, and but as time goes on, there's a lot to learn about these, and I haven't learned a lot yet, but I did eventually, after about a year, I told my sister about it, and she's heard of them, and I didn't even know that she knew about them, but she knew about, she was into the paranormal and stuff, so I guess they come across what she looks at too, so.
Said, don't tell me those things are real.
Yeah. She said, "Don't tell me those things are real." I said, "Yeah, they are. They're definitely real because I shot and killed one." And then I told her what's going on and with my story, and she absolutely knows me her whole life, so she believed me. I just didn't want to say anything to her, but she did absolutely think I should talk to someone about it. So not long after that, I finally talked to someone. I talked to Lance Hightower.
Lance Hightower, did you hear that, Sherry Griffey?
Yeah, I talked to him.
When you did that?
He has a channel on YouTube, Monsters 911 now. At the time, it was Cryptid Brothers Investigations. And I talked to him, and he absolutely thought, "Man, I'd like to put your story on my show." I said, "Well, I don't really want to do that. I wasn't really into that." This was back in 2017, 2018. And I still wasn't comfortable with saying anything too much about it. So I actually told him my story, and he recorded it and narrated it. And that's the first time I told anybody about it and went out to the public at all. And then, I got better, and after I talked to him, I felt better and got out there. That the main reason I did want to get it out there is at the time I was doing this research back then, I was hearing people shooting them and shooting at them, and it, with no effect. I'm like, I don't know about these other people, but I put that thing down like a sack of potatoes right in the eyeball to shoot it there. That works for me anyway.
Right.
So, and I wanted people to know that, just hit it in the right place and that you got a chance. So, and after I felt better, the nightmares went away. I don't really have too much of that problem for a long time now. I think it's because I've done healing. I've been to a few Dogman conferences. I've talked to a whole lot of people. I have a lot of friends in that space, and it's made a world of difference. So I met my girlfriend at the first one, and she's still with me, and but it's going to be better. No,
Great. That's great, brother. And
I still wake him up from nightmares, though. It seems like he's not remembering them. It's not as intense, I guess, to where he's remembering exactly what happened all the time.
yeah, that's Jenny, my girlfriend.
yeah, hi, Jenny.
Hi.
So after you told Lance, he narrated your story. Did you suffer any repercussions for coming out with the truth to the public like that?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's a huge point there. That's when things started to get even seem to be crazier, if you can believe it. After I had talked to him about that, it was not even. I believe it was like within a month, maybe 2 months. I can't remember, but it was somewhere in there. I was pulled into a weigh station around back. I knew I wasn't overweight, and I didn't have any problems with my truck. I thought it was a random inspection, which that's happened happens from time to time. Not very often, but I go around back and I'm going to take all my certifications and certificates in and whatever I need that they want to see. And they stopped me before I got in there. They met me out in the parking lot and said, "No, we're not doing an inspection on you. We have instructions to hold you here." And before some federal authorities want to have some business with you. I'm like, okay, then I don't know what that would be, but that's what's happening now. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just so confused about what it would be. I had no idea. I had a few guns on me at the time. I had a rifle in the back, and I always have a pistol on me too. But I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I don't know. I feel better if I hide something. So I hid my pistol behind. I pulled my CB out and threw my pistol up there and mounted my CB back in there, and I couldn't hide my rifle. But anyway, they got there, and they come out after me like, white hot on me about, they're angry, they're mad about almost the first thing out of their mouth is just, I want to let you know who you are. And this is what they said. This is one of the things they said, you killed our asset, and we're gonna tell you. And at the time, I started thinking about it, and I thought, I did talk to Lance, and I know they're monitoring what he does, And when I called him and I told them my details, they figured it out. So what they did is they monitored, my truck or whatever. Found out they can do that. Anybody can do that. And they pulled me in there and they got me and they told me what they're going to do. They may make life miserable on me if I don't shut up about it, talk about it. They took my phone away from me. They said, we know you got a gun on you. Where is it? I'm like, well, I didn't tell them about the pistol. I said my rifle's in the back, and they, well, we need that too. And so while one guy's talking to me, the other one's in their blacked out SUV, which is some kind of government thing. And I said, as they were doing this guy was talking to him like, so who are you guys? What are you talking about, asset? And they said, well, you don't need to know anything other than that. I said, well, you guys, I got an asset. What do you use that for? What do you have that? They said it was a matter of homeland security, and that's all I'm saying. And I'm like, okay, well, so I didn't. And as we get some more of that exchange, just like that, and more intimidation. And if you talk about it anymore, we can make your drug test look dirty. You won't be able to drive a truck, this and that, all the kinds of things. They did shut off my bank account for a little bit, where I couldn't access it, froze that, just to show that they could do something. They were flexing there, and so I know that was real. That they could do whatever they wanted. They could bump me off if they wanted to, I guess. And if it was that important to them, they'll do anything they want to do.
Right.
And I imagine,
did these ever identify themselves at all?
Yeah, they did. Homeland Security.
Homeland Security.
Yeah, of all things. Yeah, and I would imagine that that Dogman I killed probably was very super important to him to be that upset about it. And this is a year later, a little over a year. Well, it'd be, a little over a year later, and they.
Well, it just goes to show you that the government is not your friend. The government is not the people's friend anymore. They're not helping anyone, but they're really guinea pigs for their experiment.
That's just I've learned so much since then. It would be all day going down rabbit holes what the government are doing. And I didn't talk about it for another 4 years about it after that to anybody again. That's how much they had me spooked about it.
Right.
And then it was in 2022, I went to the first Dogman conference, and I ran into a few people, asked me, I wanted to meet some people I knew, and learn more about it. Didn't go there to necessarily put this out to the world, but as it came out that I wanted to talk to people about it, but then there's people that are like, this should get out. It's a very important story. So I relented, and I was like, it's probably the best thing I ever done, because I think they're right. I think this can help a lot of people that wants to actually hear it. Not, the people that don't believe it, don't matter, but the people that do want to hear it and understand, where my perspective is and how my encounter went with how that went, it could possibly save some lives,
Exactly right, Joe. And the truth always helps. And you're doing a good thing, I think, by coming forward and sharing your story, because most people are just like you were. They think these things only exist in fairy tales or fiction or cartoons, and they have no idea that these things are really in our own world. been hidden,
Oh,
being kept hidden from us, and it puts us all at risk, and it puts everyone in danger.
oh yeah, and it's just to be aware of it. Just to know that your chances of running into one of these is probably slim to none, but it's not impossible. Just saying.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah.
So they took your gun they took the gun from your truck that you had
Yeah,
in there.
but
It was not the
right.
gun that you used to kill the Dogman. It was like a shotgun or a rifle, right?
Yeah, it was a rifle. Yeah, it was a Mini 14 chambered in 300 blackout, which is kind of a hard chambering to find in that gun. And they took it. They didn't give it back to me. I said, "Well, how do I get it back?" They let me go. I thought they were going to cuff me and do something else, but they let me go with all the warnings and everything. Just shut up. But we got your gun. They gave me my phone back, and they probably copied everything on my phone. I'm sure.
Yeah, sure they did.
And they took my gun, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna find another one like that. It's hard to find in that caliber.
Yeah.
And so that's like I said. Okay, it's been 4 years or so, or about 4 years after that. I go to the Dogman conference. I talk to some people about it. I do some more things with other podcasters, and it really gets out there now. It's all over the place. I got people calling me I haven't talked to in 10 years. Old friends I haven't been in contact with. Hey, that was you? It's man, they're like, they call me and say, I know you, man. I know you. I know that happened. I said, yeah, it's just it's people coming out of the woodwork, and so it's getting out there. And so and what really I think it's really important that people take away from this is that if you are out in the woods, just be careful. Just be careful. That's all. Just be aware of it. Just be aware of it, and these things can happen to you if you're out there. But then I met Jenny, okay, and when I was at the first Dogman conference, and
Yes.
we haven't been apart since. Well, we were, and this was because after all this got out, and it's all over, and there's all these views on it, it's going all over the internet, and it was probably about 2 months after that. I'm me and Jenny are doing something at her mom's house for her for a few days. What I don't know, I can't remember, watching a cat or something. Just to do something for her mom for a few days. My truck was there. Haven't been in the back of my truck in my truck for at least a couple 3 days. And I go back to my place, and I go to pull stuff out that we had put back there several days before. Well, there's a huge box in there that I didn't put in there. I don't know where it come from. It's just plain cardboard box. It looks like it is big enough for a picture or something, a huge wall frame picture or something. Well, and I open it up, and I'm like, what is this? And I was reluctant to even do anything with it because I had no idea. I open up the end. I had had the clear tape on it and everything like a normal package would. Cut it. I see a butt of a gun in there, of a rifle, and it looks like my Mini 14, and it is. They put it back for whatever reason. They've been following me, and I think it was a message to say, hey, I don't know what kind of message really positive or negative, but it's like, wait, here's the guns. We know. I guess you're not going to shut up, so we're good. Yeah, because I actually talked about that too a little bit. And okay, here's your gun back. Shut up, or here's your gun back as a threat. I don't know, but
Maybe
I
they're
did.
just trying to tell you they remembered you.
Yeah,
They haven't
they
forgotten
just
that you killed one of their assets.
they just showing me they're still there. They're still around. So I got it back, and I didn't want to be, and I didn't trust it because it could, do anything
Right.
with that gun to make it look like I did something that I didn't do. So I had it dealt with. The gunsmith dealt with it. So I had, it's all good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember when that happened, and like I say, we spent some time together, you and I, Joe, and we talked a lot, and you even come in house sit for me and Letitia when we went down to visit Josh Turner in Austin, Texas. So
yeah.
this is a man that I trust to tell the truth, and believe me, I was really studying Joe pretty hard when he stayed at my house for like a week, and we talked a lot, and I was looking for any indication that he was being untrue, any change in his story, which I found nothing that would indicate that you're not being anything than 100% truthful. And if I didn't think you were, you would not be here on this show right now. So I know there's a lot of people that maybe don't believe you or doubt your story, but I just want you to know that I believe you, and I appreciate you coming on and telling us all this stuff.
Well, yeah, I have no. I'm not. I just my take on it is I'm not really sharing my experience with people to convince anybody of anything. I just think the people that are receptive to it are going to take away some important information that can help them at some point. I'm not, because I know it's hard to believe. I get it. I get it. It's hard to believe it. I still am like almost look at it as like, man, I can't believe it happened to me. But I know it did. But
Yeah.
I know these things things have occurred, and who's behind it, and all this rabbit hole stuff that goes along with it. It's really bizarre. I mean, I don't, but I do know there are people that are receptive to it, and it will help them with information and knowledge.
Right. If it helps even one person, then it's time well spent that you come and
Yes, that's the way I look at it. Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't saved from that. It was just thrown at me. So I wish I would have been aware of it before it happened. I think I would have dealt with it a little better.
Yeah, well, you dealt with it pretty damn good, if you ask me.
Yeah. It was a little bit troublesome, with my psychologically there, where I think I would have been more ready for it. I'm just saying it was kind of a shock,
Sure.
Real quick, Bart, we have to take a pause for the 5-minute break. We're not doing a 5-minute break, so nobody go anywhere. We're going to take a 10-second pause. So just hold on. The show will be aired on Aunt Selene's KPNL radio station. So just a quick 10-second pause. And I would say it's probably over now. So continue.
Yeah, very good. I like those kind of pauses, Krista. Didn't interrupt anything. So, Joe, I know a lot of people don't know this about you, but we find, at least I've found, and a lot of my colleagues have found, that there's a connection between these Inhumanoids and other unexplained phenomena, or seemingly unexplained phenomena. And this isn't the only Inhumanoid that you ever saw in your life, is it?
No, it's not.
Can you tell us about the other? I want everybody to understand that these things aren't isolated incidents, mostly. Josh and I did a series of interviews last year. It was just everyone that we interviewed, when you had no idea what they were going to say, but they all said the same thing. So go ahead, Joe.
Okay, this is something I don't think many people I've talked to know about, other than a close family or friends, few friends. And I kind of almost forget about it because of the other things overshadowing.
Sure.
But there's a couple of things. There's the first one when I was in the military. I was like 21 years old. I would think it was 20. Me and 4 other friends, we were out messing around. I'm in Fort Polk, Louisiana, is where I'm stationed, and we're out, and then it's our weekend off. We're just out doing our own thing, messing around out in the woods. We went to the lake and stuff like that, and we're climbing up these skinny trees, and they're bending over, and we're letting them flip back up these skinny pine trees. And we're just doing stupid stuff like that, and we're just horsing around, and we don't even know where we're at, but we're not far from the installation itself, maybe 10 miles away from it, maybe, and as we're walking down the trail, a little bit of it's like a game path or something, and the trees are kind of sparse. You just have to see the setting. It was a lot of bushes and a lot of skinny trees sparsely scattered. And out of this huge brushy area off to our right, as we were walking, this Bigfoot came just right out in front of us, about 40 feet away. Just walked right out in front of us, 8.5 feet tall, just huge, looked like a 4x8 sheet of plywood, big, and he's just standing there, and he's shifting back and forth, and we're all like looking at each other, and we're just backing up. We're just looking at him, but we're just backing up. And he's not being intimidating. His fingers are twitching. He's not giving us any aggressive sounds or any kind of aggressive movements or any signs of that. He's just standing there watching us, shifting back and forth. He's got these big banana fingers, just twitching. And as we get around out of his sight, as we're backing up, we just turn around and we leave. Nothing else happened. That's all it was. But he actually didn't have a domed head. He had a round head. He looked like he didn't look like an ape. He looked like a man. Just more like a caveman, didn't look like an ape really at all. Just looked like a huge man that was hairy,
Right.
So
How tall did you say he was? Did you guess?
He was 8 feet tall, had to be 8 feet, and probably 4 feet wide. Nice wide too, just at the shoulders. And we didn't say anything about that to anybody because you know how that would go. This would have been back in like '83. It was a long time ago. And nobody talked about that. And it was, people were nutty. I think Bigfoot is more acknowledged these days than back then. But we talked about it with each other, and it was between us, but we never mentioned it on post or to anybody else. That was the end of that. And then this was after my Dogman, maybe 2 years after my Dogman encounter. A friend of mine where I worked with, a guy I knew really well, him and his dad has property up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we started talking about some weird stuff happening up there. At their cabin, like tapping on windows. You go look and never see anything, and stuff hitting the roof, stuff on the roof, scraping on windows, tapping on windows. This is at night, usually, most of the time, I think, and I've been doing research, and everything he's telling me, and what he's hearing, and the sounds he's hearing that night, he thought it was a Bigfoot, and I'm like, I don't know, and I didn't want to tell him, I thought it was something else. I think it's a Dogman the way it sounds to me. So he said, hey, he invited me to go up there and say, hey, you want to go up there and see if we can figure it out? I'm not like all that and thinks about it, because I just went through something like that. I'm like, nah, I don't know. But I'm like, I should help him out. I don't want to get something happen to him, and if he should know about it. He said, I'll buy the steaks and I'll do this and that, and we'll have a weekend out of it and be all good. So I agreed, and so I met him up there. I said, well, I'll get up, it's about a 5-hour drive from at least from where we live. So I said, I'll meet you up there a certain time. Get up there, first night, nothing happens. Everything's quiet. We're kind of vigilant about things, trying to see signs. I did see some signs, though, which I did take pictures of. Like broken off, weird places where trees are busted off, where they shouldn't be, like 4 inches around, just broke off at 4 feet high, and I don't even know where the rest of the tree is. Stuff like that. A big dog print, like a dog print as big as I don't know, bigger than any dog you've ever seen. And I knew right then. I'm like, well, I think I was right. I did find a print, and I showed it to him, and he was like, man, what is that? I'm like, well, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me, I don't think, because he knew Bigfoot, he knew about that, but I said, have you heard of a Dogman? He's like, no. And we're in Michigan, and people shouldn't. I'm from Michigan. I didn't know about it either. So he's like, no, I don't know about that. And I said, well, yeah, don't worry about it. I didn't want to get too much. I was still fresh, dealing with my thing. And
Sure.
and so he comes out. He goes. The thing is the second night we hear scratching and things on the window, and it's going from one side to the other, and we're sitting there quiet inside and with a dim light on. We're like, oh, just hold on, and he thought it was a Bigfoot. He goes out there with a flashlight. He just runs out there before I could even stop him. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's out there running, and he's trying to see it and everything and scare it off or whatever. I don't even know what he's thinking. I don't even think he knew what he was thinking. But he ran a Dogman up a tree. He told me. I didn't see it. I'm in the house, and I got my Benelli M4 pointing at the door with slugs in it. If that thing comes in, because I heard something out there. I didn't go out there because I wasn't going out there. And he comes flying back in the door, and as he comes in, I hear a thump outside, and I hear a couple footsteps, couple thumps, and he's gone. And it's gone. And he said, man, that was a werewolf out there, man. He kept telling me what it looked like. He said it was black or brown and black and gray and had stripes on it. It was like striped, and he said it was like 7.5 feet tall, and he ran it up a tree. So I didn't see it. I heard it, and it did do a growl too. I heard it growl. I did hear a thump when it jumped out of the tree and a few footsteps. And I didn't see it. I didn't see it though. He just told me what he saw, and it scared him to death. He did. I said, we're not going anywhere tonight. We're going to hold up right here until it gets light, right? And then so he left, and the next day, and we both left. And it's like he couldn't sell that place fast enough. He owned it with his dad. He sold it. Like within a month, he sold that thing. Because I've talked to him after that incident. He said, "Man, why didn't you tell me you knew about those?" I said, "You wouldn't believe me until you saw it, did you?" He said, probably not." So there you go. So I said, you're lucky. You're lucky nothing happened to you more than it did. The reason I was with him, he felt a lot safer because he knew how I am with firearms. He knew I was capable, so he felt a lot safer. But he had too much confidence in that because he could have got a lot worse could have happened to him, you know.
Right.
So
what else, Joe? Let's just let it all out here. Have you ever lived in a haunted house?
Well, I don't know because I've never had an encounter with a ghost or anything supernatural. So if it was, it didn't haunt me. But I know my sister, when she was a kid, she would say and do things that I would. She's a lot younger than me, so I'm a teenager. She's like 6 or something, and she would say, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that?" And it's like, well, actually, no. I thought she was just a kid being crazy or something. I wasn't hearing nothing, but you know. And she's still adamant about it. She was seeing a hat man in the house. So, and it actually interacted with her. It slammed. My mom even said, got after her for slamming the doors, and she said, "It's not me. I'm not even near the door." And you know, because it kind of like would pull the door on her and stuff. This is stuff I didn't know was happening. But she still talks about it to this day in that house. So I guess it was haunted, but I never saw anything, and nobody else did. It was just her, and she was 6 or 7 years old when we were there. Yeah. So, other than that, no, I don't know anything about ghosts or had any kind of interaction with anything like that.
Right. Well, Krista and Hollywood could tell you all about ghosts, and all I can say is I don't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
I walk half a mile out of my way just not to walk in front of a haunted house because I've lived in a couple of them myself. I don't want anything to do with it. So let's just go for the grand slam here, Joe. Have you ever seen, you or Jenny, ever seen anything in the sky that you thought was bizarre or unexplainable?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
About that, if you don't mind. Sorry, everybody. Have
I'll let Jenny go first.
I've seen what I think was a TR-3B. I didn't see the black triangle shape, but I saw it go from looking like a star, you know, and I'm talking like I'm sitting on a deck in a deck chair at night looking up at the sky, and we think we're looking at stars, and this thing blew up about the size of a quarter, you know, from our point of view, so quite big, whatever it was, and then it just darted across the sky, you know, appearing though it was as if it was going from one constellation to the next. Now that's probably not what was happening, but and then another time when my former boyfriend passed, we had been together about 25 years, and he passed away about 3.5 years ago, and we did a little thing for him out at the beach, and I saw, as all of us saw, this thing come, and it was like sideways teardrop shape, glowing orange, and it's coming across the sky, and we're thinking it's like a meteor or something, but no trail, you know, and it comes from the right across the sky, and his brother and I are looking like, what is that? And everybody I'm with is not into the weird like me, so they're all thinking it's something very rational. This thing stops right in front of us. Now it's out over the lake, over Lake Michigan, and it was sunset, so the sun was about to go down, and it just sat there for like 45 minutes, and then as soon as the sun went down, it went blink, blink, out. Then the other one was with Joe and I last New Year's Eve, so almost a year ago. We had been at his sister's for the new year. We drove back up north to the property up there, which is pretty isolated, Reed City, Michigan. Total dog. We never saw anything up there. It's about 20 minutes from where Joe's main encounter was. But my family's got a place up there, and we were heading back there. We had been staying there at the time. And it was about 4 a.m. We are driving into this is a long drive through woods until you get to our little driveway. and we are pulling in, and this huge owl lands on a branch, like right in front of us. It was just so weird. And we were like, wow, look at that. Looked at it for a few minutes, and then we pulled in. There was about probably like maybe 2 feet of snow on the ground or something. So we weren't hanging outside too long. But we were unpacking the car, and it's a clear sky. You can see stars darted around. And I look up and I said, Joe, do you see that cloud up there? There was like this iridescent cloud that was pulsating. And every time it would go in and out, we would see these 3 stars in the shape of a triangle behind it. And we just sat and looked at it for a few minutes. Again, he's like, yeah, I see it. And we just watched it for a few minutes, and that's all it did. It was an iridescent cloud pulsating, which seemed to me, if I had to take a stab at it, like it was something behind it cloaking, creating this cloud maybe. Not, I don't know, but it just what it seemed like maybe. And we just watched it for a few minutes and then went inside. The very strange thing is the next day, now I'm not saying this is anything, but it was just kind of strange. The next day, we get up and he said, what's that on your stomach? And I looked down and I've got a bruise on my stomach with a pinpoint in the middle. I'm like, that's weird. I don't know. I don't remember bumping into anything or anything. And then later that day, I'm looking at his low back, and he's got 3 red dots in the shape of a triangle on his low back. They weren't raised or anything. I thought maybe they were moles that just happened to be in the shape of a triangle, but they faded. It was just a strange thing, but we don't remember anything happening or anything.
Well,
it was just
missing time.
What's that?
You don't have any missing time or anything like that?
Well, we were, it was 4 a.m. and we went to bed, but we don't, nothing that we're aware of. It was just a strange observation. But, when you're steeped in these topics, it does make you wonder,
Right.
did something happen that night? But we don't remember anything. And now Joe's got some other UFO things.
Okay. Those are pretty weird too. But another one was this would have been probably back in the 90s. At that time, after I got out of the military, a few years after that, I went to college for aviation. I was going to be a commercial pilot. I didn't never happen, but I did get through most of it. But while I was doing that, of course, I'm flying all over the place for training. And I'm flying, following the coast of Lake Huron. And I'm in a Cessna 172. And I'm looking around, and I'm, looking at the water and just kind of enjoying the view. I look down, and the water, I don't know what the depth is of it, but it's probably, I would say 100 feet, 50 to 100 feet depth of water, probably. And I see this shape in the water that's going faster than me and past that. It's underwater, and it's just a dark, like, oval shape. And it's going, it's not a shadow. I made sure of that. It's none of this. I was moving the plane around, trying to checking it out. And this thing, it was definitely was something going on. I knew it wasn't any effect of my plane or any other thing else around me. But this thing was underwater, so it was a submerged object that was moving. I was probably doing 140, 130 knots. It was going faster than that. So I don't know what that was, but it was something like, of an object underwater. But anyway, that I didn't know what that was, but it was one incident. And then I've seen 2 triangles. One, and both times I've seen these black triangles. They're silent, and they were huge. And I was driving a truck both times. And I was going faster than one of them was. It was right above me, at probably no more than 50 feet over me. And it was just off the highway a little bit. And this was in close. It was actually not far from Dayton, Ohio. And if you know anything about that, Wright Patterson, might tell you something. And another one was in New York. I was near New York City. I was driving right outside of Newark, New Jersey, and I saw this other one, like in between New York and New Jersey, where the water separates the two. And it was the same thing, exactly the same thing. So I've seen a couple of those, and that's it, though. That's all I've ever seen that I didn't know, couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a lot, Joe. So most people go their whole lives will never have any kind of experiences at all with the paranormal. And that individuals that do are often prone to being exposed to not only one phenomenon, but multiple seemingly unrelated phenomena. And it's really kind of eye-opening, and doesn't take much to connect the dots. You have to just be willing to connect them. One dot leads to another, and then another, and then another. And if you connect the dots, you'll have a line there, and the line is truth. So to me,
well, and Bart, it's funny because as we met, like he said, at the first PRT conference in Tennessee. And we talk about these things every day, of course. We're together all the time, and many conversations over all of this. And he's always like, oh, I've never really experienced anything weird except for that Dogman. But then as we talk, all this stuff comes out. And I'm like, dude, it's a lot, Most people don't experience these things. And especially, but I think it's just he didn't really see a connection, or maybe just kind of forgot about things or something. I don't know.
Cryptids and all these topics like this, I was never into. It never crossed my mind until that Dogman incident happened. Then I'm steeped in it now. You can't. It's like you can't. It's hard to turn back, really, because it's real, and it's part of the world we live in, and just want to know as much as I can know about it.
Right, once you see these things, Joe, you can never unsee them.
Right.
It's good that they have opened your mind and sent you on a journey, a quest for truth, because answers are out there. People say, "Oh, we can never understand." Well, we're not meant to understand these things. Yes, we are. Yeah. All you have to do is have an open mind and be willing to let the evidence lead you, and not lead the evidence. Most people with their cognitive dissonance is kicking in, and they hear something that they don't agree with or believe and automatically dismiss it. But if you really look at these things with an open mind, and the key is not to just look at one piece of the puzzle, right? The inhumanoid piece. The inhumanoid, or what most people call cryptids, is just one small piece of a larger puzzle of unexplained phenomena. So look at it all together. Look at where it happens, to who it happens, and how it happens, and you'll see that there's definitely some things to be learned by that, and definitely some conclusions to be drawn there. But you have to let the evidence lead you, and not the other way around.
And Bart, do you mind if I just tell you about something else real quick?
Well, no, Jenny, go right ahead.
I don't know that this has any relevance or not, but it intrigues me. So his sister, like Joe and I would never send our DNA to 23andMe, just nope. But his sister did. And she got this file back that was incredible. The most notable DNA connection to Joe is a 1,000-year-old shield maiden. And she was buried with 2 horses and all, like an axe and just all these weapons. And it was a major excavation. And I've got the thing in my phone. I can't remember her name and stuff, but I could send it to you or something if you're interested. But
Sure.
then as I start going through the file, he is related to countless warriors that have been uncovered, like where they found their remains on different battle sites and so forth. And then also, Joe was in the army. He was also a military contractor for a while. But prior to that, on his dad's side, every man in that family has been in a war going back to the Revolutionary War. None of them died in war, which I find remarkable. So there's this like long history of like warriors or soldiers, however you want to call it. And Bart, Tish, you guys, Joe, and does he not fit that description? Like he's
his humble demeanor. Yeah, he is. I can imagine that he would be quite formidable on a battlefield.
Yeah. Well, I did, thinking about the Shield Maiden, I believe she was from Sweden, and it got me thinking about what does that mean to be a Shield Maiden? And it makes me wonder about, like the Norse mythology and all of that. Like, would she have been privy to certain things? I don't know. It just has got me thinking. I don't really know what to make of it, but I do think it's interesting, our past experiences, our lineages, and just all of this. It's just fascinating to me because like to him it's like, oh, that's weird, but and Joe is a man of faith. He always has been, and a follower of Jesus Christ. There's no two ways about that, and I am as well. And I don't know. It just makes me wonder if there isn't some kind of connection. I told him, I said, babe, you got to realize most families don't have that kind of history, and most families do not have the experiences your family has had. Same thing on his dad's side. His grandmother saw a goat man twice in her yard in Alpena, Michigan. Like he told you, his sisters had all these experiences with ghosts and shadow men. What's that?
Yeah, Joe's whole family has
whole family. Grandfather saw a Bigfoot. I mean, and then that's what we know of, right? Like,
that's how I knew Bigfoot was real, is because my grandfather saw one in the early 1900s when he was trapping and chased him out of the woods. So I knew about those being real, but until I saw one, I didn't think a lot about it. And after I saw one when I was in the military, then I started doing research, and I was intrigued about Bigfoot after that, but I never heard of a Dogman, So, and now I'm into all of it now because I just have to be, I guess, at this point.
Right, it draws you in, and once take a real close look into the unknown and then explain, it takes a look back into you. So,
yeah.
Well, and I think like you, Bart, you've had a lifetime of experiences as well. And I think you're right when you say like, that certain people things are revealed to certain people. I don't know why that is, what that's about, but
I've often wondered, Jenny, why some certain people have such vast experience with things like this, and most people actually don't have any. And I've yet to find an answer to that. I know, as far as I'm concerned, people say, well, you're gifted or psychic or.
No, I don't know about that. But I wonder if it has something to do with having Jesus in your heart. Like, are you guys being prepared for something? Because I think we can all agree we are, as humanity is on a precipice. We are, I mean, doesn't everybody feel that? We are on the edge of major change. And, I don't want to get too woo on anybody, but it does feel like a spiritual connection, and that maybe if you have your heart in the right place, like maybe it's preparing you for something. I don't know.
Well, Jenny, you're talking to the king of woo.
I know. I don't want to have the chat think I'm too nuts, but whatever.
Well, I know what's true and what's not. And I was exposed to this Bigfoot phenomenon almost 50 years ago. So I've had 50 years to think and conclude and the experience. And I have a really substantial head start on most of the people that's in this today. And
Yeah.
the very bottom line is the woo is the truth.
I agree.
Explain these things. Science has yet to catch up with these things. And until it does, they'll always be considered woo. And
Yeah.
when you
And
encounter,
there's all kinds of science going on, messing, creating chimeras and all sorts of things. I mean, we know for a fact Joe's was an asset. That means it probably has been through a lab. I don't know if they caught it, they grew it, they summoned it.
Sure.
I don't know. But
that's not woo, but that's only too believable to me is that they've been playing DNA games with these humans and animals, for a long time since the end of World War
I
II.
absolutely believe that. I don't think that's the sum total of what everyone is seeing, but I think it is at least part of the puzzle,
Yeah. Right. When you look at everything all together, it starts to be the puzzle starts to become more clear. If you only look at one piece, you can never see the whole picture.
Right.
Joe,
Yeah.
we're gonna open up the floor to some questions now from the viewers, if you don't mind. And I want to remind everyone that this platform automatically unsubscribes many people from truthers channels without them knowing it. So if you don't mind, please check to see that you are subscribed if you were a subscriber. And if you're not a subscriber, then why not? All we're doing is telling the truth. It might not be what some of you want to hear, but it's damn sure going to be the truth. So please check to see that you're subscribed. And if you have any questions for Joe, please type them in the chat and use all capital letters, please, so we can pick them out.
We have a lot of questions for Joe.
Thanks to everyone that's donated too. We really appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Krista, do you mind to read those to
I can read them. Brandy, watch the front chat. I'm going to the starred side. All right. So
thank you guys.
No problem. You sound awful, Letitia.
I feel pretty
Yeah, I
bad.
want you going to go to bed, honey.
I'll go to bed. The
Yeah.
decision might turn down.
Okay, Joe, first question. DJ Tyler Radio asked, were the eyes like yellow like a cat? And that was when you were talking about your Dogman encounter.
Well, the iris was not slanted like a cat, but they were I would say even brighter yellow than that. It might have been the contrast of the black fur, but they were extremely bright, and they were very big, and the round pupils.
they were not animals.
It was not an animal in the eyes. You saw the intelligence there, and the expressions were not of an animal, and all of its mannerisms too. So it was actually thinking and trying to figure out things, calculating things.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Brother Larry. Appreciate
Thank you, Larry.
All right, next question. Cheers to Chow asked, did you shoot through the glass window at him or was the window open?
No, I think I did mention that both windows were down. I shot, through an open window. But I did have scratches on my door.
Okay. Farisian asked, did the Dogman have a stench?
No, I couldn't smell anything. We were moving. If there was a stench, it was probably wafting behind it. It looked perfectly groomed too. It was like it was being cared for almost. It wasn't mangy. It wasn't matted at all. It's like it's been brushed, like it's been teeth are brushed every day, like its fur's been brushed. It had a big mane, and the big mane was like almost perfect. I don't know. It looked like it was like I said. Those people that were there had to be the handlers of that thing. That I didn't know at the time.
Wow. All right. Jojo asks, was there a dash cam or rear window camera in the truck at all?
There was a dash cam, but it never got to a point where the camera in the front could have saw it. It was just on the side, and there was no side camera or no other camera. And I'd be surprised if I did catch it on video. I would have to get it. The company gets that through their feed. I don't even know if I'd be able to access it or not, because I'd have to get it through the company's feed.
Do you still work for the same company?
No,
Okay.
the reason, the biggest reason why is because when I was probably in 2020, they decided to put cameras inside facing us
Gotcha.
and looking at us inside the cabin. I'm not having that. So
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Either.
Next question. William Bays asks, do you think the cutting of your airlines was an effort to get you to stop to get you? Good question.
I thought about that, and other people have mentioned that too. And I would believe they're smart enough to know that that was one thing I thought about afterwards. I was in a day cab at that time, and there was a plenty of room for that thing to reach across my airlines from the cab to the trailer where it was at. If it would have reached over, it could have pulled my airlines. But I didn't give it a chance to do that. I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility. You know, that's a possibility.
Wow.
Let me bring up something, Joe. On the video drop that I did Sunday, there was a lot of comments. And one of the most recurring arguments against what you're saying is that it's illegal to carry a gun in your truck. And you risk going to jail and all that, and we're going to prison just to carry a gun in your truck. And I just want to address that. And if I was an over-the-road trucker myself, I don't care what the laws say or what anyone says, I would not back out of my driveway without a gun. So if you find it hard to believe that someone would carry a gun, a trucker would carry a gun, then
Absolutely.
you're going to find the whole truth really hard to swallow.
Yep.
Well, I've been a concealed permit carrier for most of my adult life, and it's absolutely legal with the federal, regulations, that we're under for truck drivers to carry. If you're, especially if you have a carry license. Now, there's reciprocity, which might be an issue here and there with different states, but I really don't care what the laws are. I mean, and when it comes to my personal safety and things like that, nobody's going to know I have it unless it's needed to save my own life or someone else's around me. Nobody's going to know it, and nobody ever has known it unless I tell them. So, and I've been doing it for decades. So, you can absolutely carry a gun. It's not illegal, and the only thing that might be an issue is the company I worked for did have a policy that they didn't want us carrying guns. I didn't care. I did it for 10 years, and they never knew it. And even after all that, they never knew it because I never said anything, So, yeah, it's absolutely legal. It's just it gets a little in the weeds a little bit with the laws in different states you might go into, but I'm telling you, I've been in places and I've had a few things happen in different places, and no gun was involved, but they know I have one because I have a license, and they never give me any hassle about it. So it's absolutely fine.
In their case, in the company that you work for's case, is what they don't know won't hurt them. But in your case, it's what you don't know might kill you. So that's really a poor argument that no one can believe that you would risk carrying a gun. I mean, this world is not a safe place. So, like I say, if I was a trucker, I wouldn't back out of my driveway without one, and I don't care if it's legal or not. It's just how it would be.
I've known a lot of truck drivers over the years, and I bet you at least half of them have a gun on them that I know of.
I don't blame them. Every one of them should. You hear stories of truckers disappearing quite a few stories out there of that, and maybe it would be different if they were brave enough to, if it is a law somewhere, break that law and put their own safety first.
My brother drives a truck and has for 40 years, and he always has 2 pistols with him as well. You know, he just keeps them in, you know, you just put them away. You don't pull a gun unless, you know, you intend to pull the trigger. You know, Joe always carried, but you, like he said, you don't know it unless, well, I guess we're telling everybody right now, but, you know, it's part of his outfit for the day. I mean, it's just how it is, you know?
Right.
Whether I'm in a truck or not, it's every day.
Or a bank or a hospital or anything.
I'm not fully dressed with my gun on me.
Right. There you go.
Yep.
I agree with you there. We have some more questions for Joe, Krista.
Lots of questions still.
Okay, let's get him on.
Lally asks, did the Dogman mind speak with you?
Well, I wouldn't say I couldn't tell you that. I think what I was thinking was my thoughts. I've heard of that quite a bit. I tried to think about it real hard, and I don't think it was not my thoughts. I think it was my thoughts, you know. So I don't believe the whole thing from the time our eyes met till I shot at him. It was maybe under 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there was enough time to really. I mean, there might have been enough time for that, but I think it was my thoughts that I was thinking, that he was thinking, I was thinking, you know.
Okay, Chris asks, what type of rounds were you using?
I was using a real special round that is only made for Smith & Wesson governors or Taurus judges, which have long cylinders for 410 shotgun shells and 45 Colt pistol rounds. Well, I had Lehigh Defense bullets that are solid copper, and they're called maximum expansion bullets, and they're just milled copper bullets that are the whole bullet is about 2 inches long. It's a long bullet, and it has a cavity that's drilled down the middle of it that's about 1 inch long, and then it's got a cross cut like an X in the nose of it. So this hollow point has a huge deep hollow point, and then when it hits something like soft tissue, it opens up into an X pattern, like about 2 inches wide. It's about 2 inches wide, so when it's going through something soft, it stays intact and with hard things like bone or any other thing that's hard, that's steel or anything. But when it hits anything that's soft, it opens up, and it's like a Cuisinart blade going through. It's just nasty.
Wow.
And then the Hydra-Shock too. That's just one of the nastiest. It's a 225 grain bullet at 950 feet a second. It's pretty devastating. It's real wicked. So that's what.
Wow. Okay, Jay asks, can you talk about how it's affected you spiritually?
Well, I've always had. I grew up, you know, a Christian. My parents we always went to church and raised up in a Protestant faith. You know, you kind of sometimes you wane in that in life and everything. And, you know, I've always been in good standing. I tried to be with, you know, the Lord and Jesus. And, you know, of course, we're all human. That don't always happen. But after that, I think I became, especially the more I researched what the Dogman was and where it comes from, and you look through history, there's dog-headed, like St. Christopher is supposed to be a dog-headed man. There's other things that I don't know where they exactly come from, but I do think they have something to do with the fallen angels. I think, I believe, and I've become closer because I had to pray a lot. I think to just get my psychology in a better place. You know, just kept my faith probably. I think got stronger than it's ever been since then. You know,
Great.
and in Jesus and our Lord and God. So
Sure.
that's where I'm at with that.
Okay.
That's a
Jojo
good one, Joe.
asked, I wonder if Joe has suffered with any PTSD as a result of.
Yeah, I would say it was. I mean, there's labels for things, and I guess you could say that's what it was. I was really in a bad way for. I couldn't even remember how I got back that day. For about a week I was going to work doing my daily things. Didn't change anything I did other than I don't remember. Like the first week after that, I don't remember it hardly at all. So yeah, I was pretty shocky there at first, you know. But I'm really pretty good now. I'm out of the woods, I think, pretty well. I might have some problems here and there in my sleep, but I don't ever remember it anymore.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. Okay. Anthony asked, do you think the people in the Jeep work for the government?
oh yeah, I do. I absolutely know it. They were handlers, and they have these things chipped, or they have some way of tracking them. And I think what happened is, however they track these things and probably have vital signs or something, and thing went, or they lost speed or whatever happened, and they were there right away. I mean, I was in 5 minutes. It didn't take me maybe 4 minutes to get back there at the most, and they were already there looking around. And so I do know that they absolutely had to be the government handlers for that animal, which was not all animal, but it was something.
Okay, next question. I know you've been answering some of this here, but Hawk asked, have you traveled the road again, and have you seen anything else?
Oh yeah, I've been back on that road several times since then, and I've actually taken Jenny there because she wanted to see it. We're only at where, like she mentioned before, the place we were staying at up there that her family has for a little while was only 20 minutes away from there, and so we took the ride over there, and I showed her exactly how everything was, how it was set up, how it all, gave her the whole rundown of the complete thing while we were there. She said, man, it was really, really creeping her out around that area too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been back there, and I've never seen another one. I haven't seen another Dogman since then.
Gotcha.
So,
God be with you too, Penny Van.
Yeah,
We're all praying for you. Okay, be strong.
for sure. Tamara asked, Joe, why do you think they waited a year to confront you?
well, it was actually a year before I said anything to Lance Hightower, and he narrated it, and it was about a month or two after that is when they confronted me, and they found out who I was. It wasn't long after that, so that's why it was a year, because I started talking about it, and they've been monitoring Lance's. They've shut him down. He's had so much problems at that time with his internet and all kinds of problems that didn't make sense. They were monitoring him. They were messing with him hard. And when he narrated my story, they really didn't like that. So they came after me a few months after that.
Yeah.
So you think that was the catalyst that made them confront you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it had to be.
Coming out of the boat, yeah.
Had to be.
Yeah. Fruition asks, what year was the UFO encounter?
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
I think that came along when you were talking about your first.
The one in the water, underwater.
I believe.
That would have been in probably 92, somewhere in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other ones were different years.
Sure.
Probably the triangles were probably in the teens at different years, and probably 2013, 2015.
Right. Okay. All right. You have more questions here. Next one. Farishan asks, did you have any UFO activity during your childhood?
No, but here's one thing I didn't mention, and I keep forgetting. When I stayed with I used to stay a lot of the summers with my aunt up in the northern part of Michigan, and it was actually where my grandmother used to see a goat man a couple of times. It was, and I would sleep in the living room, and there was a big picture window there, and it was facing to the east, and there was a barn across the street, and I saw the biggest dog walk out of that thing. So I think I saw a Dogman when I was like about 8, 9 years old up there walking around that barn, because the sun was coming up, and because the sun was coming up, it was kind of unclear, but it was on all fours, and it was just kind of meandering away from me. So I just saw its back, but it was like as big as at least as big as a donkey, probably. It wasn't as big as the one I saw, with the truck, but it was at least donkey size. And I mentioned it to my aunt that I stayed with, and she was real adamant about not being outside at night. So maybe she knew something I didn't know. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've never seen any canine as big as a donkey.
No.
Yeah.
Right there.
No. Appalachian asks, Joe, do you own a dog? Had it been in your truck prior to seeing that thing?
I haven't had a dog in many years. I've had dogs most of my life, and I haven't had a dog probably in at least 15 to 20 years now.
But everybody's dogs are attracted to him. They always want to sit by him, and all dogs love him. It's really funny.
My sister's dog is actually not hers, it's mine.
He just gets along with him everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. If I come around, everybody else is chopped liver, it's my shadow.
I hear you. Farishan asked again, what were you transporting at the time of your encounter?
It was rolls of paper, which I think is made which I think they make it so they can manufacture like cereal boxes and stuff. It was just like thick paper, like you would, and there were huge rolls like the size of a small car,
There's a guy in the chat named Timothy Raz, and I think what he was saying is that he delivers or picks up from that same paper factory that Joe was hauling from.
Wow.
He's got another interesting story if you want to hear it regarding paper rolls. Might as well.
Yeah, but I just had paper rolls, big paper rolls.
So nothing really outside
No,
of that you were
No,
carrying.
I wasn't carrying steaks or ribs or anything that would,
Right. Right. Okay. Dick Richards says, question, please. I missed the start. How many times did you shoot? And where did you nail it? And what kind of ammo, please? Very interested to know.
What? Let's see.
You shot
What?
twice.
I shot twice,
I think you hit it.
and I hit it in the eye. I'm sure of it. Had to have.
And the
And the ammo was Lehigh Defense maximum expansion bullets out of a 45 Colt. So
Awesome.
yeah, that's what it was.
Coin designer asks, why do you suppose it attacked your truck?
I have no idea. He had every chance to grab me underneath that trailer when I was there,
Mhm.
and he never did. That's the $1 million question there. I have no idea.
said it felt like it was distracting you. Right?
Well, yeah. I don't know why it did, but I think there was more than one
Mhm.
because, because when I talked to those people, when I stopped really quickly, they saw there's two things here. I'm like, so there's two of them. I don't know. I'm just assuming that, but it sure does seem like that one I was looking at might have been a distraction.
Sure.
But
Yeah, that's
I
a
don't know.
logical assumption, Joe, because it's going to take more than a couple of people to drag a 1,000-pound creature into the woods
Yep.
Right.
out of sight in 4 minutes. So I don't think that
Right.
could have been done by. Of course,
No,
several
'cause-
people could, but
Because it was,
one dog.
yeah, it was gone. It was gone by the time I came back, and those people were there, and you could see the weeds are totally plowed down into the wood line, and it didn't go all the way into the wood line, either. So it was dragged out of there by something else or a couple other ones or whatever.
Great.
Yeah.
Anthony has a question. He says, would you recognize the government agents if you ever saw their faces again?
I bet you I would.
Mhm.
I bet you I would. Yeah.
Wow.
I probably know them as well as I know the Dogman, as far as what they look like.
Right. Wow. Well, Bart, we got to the end of the questions that I caught.
Great. Well, we're just about out of time, too. I don't want to keep it going too late because I know Wednesday nights, a lot of people have to get up early and go to work tomorrow. I don't want to keep them up, but I'm thinking about maybe changing the schedule to Saturday. I don't know. What do you guys think about that, where we can go as long as we want? But that's just something I've been thinking about. But, Joe, I want to thank you, brother, for coming and telling us all about your experiences, and thank you for being honest. And just keep up what you're doing, man, and don't ever stop telling the truth, and never back down from anyone who don't believe you. Okay?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I backed down for a little bit there with the government, but they're leaving me alone now. So I think we're going to be okay there. So I'm not backing down. I'm telling everybody that wants to hear it now, and I'm not thinking twice about it.
There you go, brother.
So,
Can we go back and thank everybody? Do we have those stored?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Have,
Everyone that donated,
do you want me to do it or do you want to do it?
sure, go ahead,
If you don't
Krista.
mind.
We sure appreciate you guys.
No problem.
Sorry, I'm just doing so well.
New member, the Ellipse Truth, Suji, gifted 10 memberships. Thank you. Liberty 1776. Larry Joe Fisher donated. Two Shadows. Hold on. I got to scroll more. Got a bunch more. Hawk gifted 20 Inhumanoid memberships. Double Aaron is a new member. Double Aaron gifted. Appalachian Tales. Members, Hawk donated some cash. DJ Tyler Radio donated some cash. Love Cat donated cash. The Lips Truth donated cash. Hawk donated more cash.
Love you, Dustin.
Shirley Burdett donated cash. Scott's Life donated cash. Josh Turner, cash. TF Seek, Super Sticker, cash. Suji, Shade Viking, Lisa Marie, Sir Cluffy Cluffington, Love Cat, Sugar Britches, all donated cash. Josh Turner donated another 10 Inhumanoids memberships. Shade Viking member, Anthony Marino, Cash. Hawk donated another 10 memberships. Tony is a member for 1. Tony Luong also donated gifted a membership. Tito donated cash. Josh Turner gifted another 50 memberships.
Wow, thanks, brother Josh.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much.
Linda Dale is a new member. Hawk donated another 10. The Lips Truth is
Thank
a
you,
new
Merle.
member. Suji also donated gifted another 10. Liberty 1776, some cash. And I think I got everybody.
Well, we just had Tony donate another 5 memberships.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tony.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Do that now.
everybody. We appreciate everything you guys are doing for us. Dustin, if you're still on here, I love you too, son.
Yeah, so I want to thank everybody that's taking the time out of their lives to show up and spend a little time with us. Like my brother Jitesh says, you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you were right here with us. So God bless all of you, and to everyone that's struggling and suffering, we'll be praying for you. We love you, and just know that you guys are family to us. You're not followers, and you're not clicks. You're not views. You're actual friends and family, and we appreciate every one of you. So God bless you, and we will see you all again next Wednesday night. I just talked tonight to Mr. T. And if you remember Mr. T, he was on about a month ago, and just his story blew everybody's mind. So he has promised that he will come back on. He's been having a lot of trouble since he went on that live stream with me. A lot of people didn't like that. So, but he's not going to give in. He promised to be back. So we'll get back with him as soon as we can. We love you guys. Have a great night, everyone.
Wait a minute, I got to say something. Josh, to answer your question, Jitesh is taking care of his father. His father is
Yes.
very ill,
His father's at the
and
end.
he's spending as many minutes and seconds with him as he can. So he's going to be out of the picture for a little while, but he said he will be back.
Yes.
Just everybody, please pray for Jitesh and his father,
Right.
please. And pray for everybody.
Yeah,
that needs
everybody
it
pray
tonight.
for each other.
You
We'll
know
all pray
what?
for each other.
Pray for our enemies too. Pray for our enemies. We all need.
Yeah,
prayers.
we have enemies. You think that we might not, everybody likes us, but no, we have enemies because people don't like the truth. The truth is the most unpopular thing that you can offer anyone. So we do have people out there that's wanting to silence me and shut me down, but my God is greater than their God. So I'm not worried about any of that. All I'm going to do is continue to come up here and tell you guys the truth every time. So thank you for being here and let me share that truth with you guys. We love you. Have a good night. And stay safe, okay? Happy holidays.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Christy, you can go ahead.
I got it for you. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
It was a great show.
We love
Good night,
you guys.
everybody. Thank
I wanna taste the pain. I think I'm seeing all red. 2 bullets in the gun, 1 shot to the head. I need a blank space. 'Cause everything is a threat. But I never back down, man. I'd rather be dead. I'm making love to fate. And she look better in bed. And I'ma rock this life till I take my last breath. I wanna make a change. I got 1 life left, so I'm gonna go down swinging. Don't you forget. I wanna taste the pain.